Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Krishna Prasai Bhutale, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravana Gachani Navasesha Srinivadi Prashtichadi Chaitanya. We have a special guest with us this evening. My husband's here to help start off the
Haribol.
Would you like to teach us?
We don't want to do it together.
Okay.
Shri Shikshastaka. What are we going to do? Sanskrit, English, Sanskrit? How are we going to do it?
What do you prefer? Sanskrit, English, because it's right there.
Yeah.
You can all say it at home, I guess.
But everyone should be muted. Because otherwise it's just saying it all different times.
Yeah, it'll be confusing. But please say it at home.
Well, if you have it, you can put it on the screen. I don't know.
I think he's going to.
Do you have it, or should we can just chant it? You don't have to have it on the screen. People don't know it. They can listen, or they can find it in one of their books.
I will share, Prabhuji. Yeah.
We can start. We'll just start.
Chaitodarpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagni nivapanam shreya karava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam puranam saswatanam savatmasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Nanam karaya bahuda nija sava shaktish tatrapita niyamita smarane natkalaha etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva idrishamiha jani nanuraga.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina maradena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Nadanam
Najanam nasundarim kavitam vajagadish kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti ahituki trayi.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
Ayinanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame babambudo kripaya tava pada pankaja sita duli sadrisham vichintaya. Maybe someone else can read the English.
Oh, son of... Go ahead.
No, Prabhuji, go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
Nayanam Kalad Ashrudaraya Vadanam Gagadarudaya Gira Pulakai Nichitam Vapukada Tavananam Vishati. Someone else? English?
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Yugayatam
Namashena Chakshusha Pravishayitam Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahena Me.
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world, your absence.
Sishya Padaratam Panistumam Adarshanam Mamahatam Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lampato Matprananatastu Saeva Napara.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He's completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipable Lord, unconditional. All glories to Sri Chaitanya.
Lord Chaitanya's appearance is coming up very soon this month, the 28th of this month, Sunday. We're going to have a big program virtually on that day, and then there'll be a few devotees actually having the virtual program at the new temple.
So we are beginning the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya has evolved through the years. There have been different copies. You may see and wonder why. Is there different copies? Why do they look so different? The copy is the first book that I ever read, and the copy that I had a picture of Lord Chaitanya on the cover in Jharkhand forest with the tigers and the other animals dancing.
That's that's an old one too.
And this is another old one. So it was published in 1968, and then again in 72. And then in 75, and then there were some changes made. I believe, what's his name? Hayagriva. He felt that it was a little rough, so he wanted to make it smoother. But then the devotees felt they were missing the original printing of the Chaitanya, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So recently again, they came out, and the latest one we have is a reprinting of the first ones, which include some of the drawings. They were taken out, the black and white drawings. There's only like 4 of them or something, but they're really nice, but they were taken out of the 1975 edition.
So what goes around comes around.
Goes around. But
also, if we can see people, that would be nice.
If they can, I don't force them.
She's not forcing them, but
some people are busy.
I'm not forcing them. I'm just trying to persuade them in a very nice way so we can see you. So we have one very nice response.
Does anybody know who Srila Prabhupada dedicated the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to? You know, each book in the beginning, he makes a dedication. Anybody know?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Yeah, yes, that is correct.
Did you just read it?
I read it earlier in this year, Prabhu, in March.
Okay,
I mean, I guess one year ago now.
Oh,
and I didn't finish it, but I did read the dedication.
Yeah. So we're going to start in the very beginning. Let's see. We did the Bandiham prayers already. It is dedicated.
I think Sevanandini has raised her hand. Do you have any questions, Sevanandini?
Mataji, I just wanted to know the difference between teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the Nectar of Devotion.
Well, the Nectar of Devotion is Srila Prabhupada's
Summary.
rendition, a summary study of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami wrote the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and our Srila Prabhupada translated it and wrote as the Nectar of Devotion, like a summary study of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, I believe, are lectures on Chaitanya Charitamrita. And within it, it's Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Rupa Goswami, his instructions to Sanatana Goswami. It has his conversations with Prakashananda Saraswati. So it's different in that way.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, they both discuss Bhakti Yoga.
That's fine.
Yes, but in different ways.
Right, in the Nectar of Devotion, the preface, no, in the introduction, I read that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, so I got confused.
Oh, yeah. Well, his teachings
To Rupa Goswami.
to Rupa Goswami. Lord Chaitanya instructed his foremost disciples to write books on the science of bhakti, to instruct people in the principles of bhakti yoga. So it is his teachings, but through Rupa Goswami.
Thank you, Mataji.
This book, like she said, is dedicated to the sacred service of Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who initiated the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world, McGill University, Canada, in 1896, the year of my birth. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Prabhupada found that very significant that the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, what was it called? Do you remember what it was called? The Life and Teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
Concepts, I think. Anyway, it's something like that. Life and Concepts. I think Concepts was part of it, but I'm not positive.
Anyway, that was sent to McGill University in Canada, the year of our Srila Prabhupada's birth. So we'll begin with the acknowledgements. Would you like to start?
No, you can start with that.
Okay, I might need a. It's so small.
Really?
Yeah, let me see if this one's. Where's
Okay,
the
why
other
don't you
book?
get glasses or
Can I
something?
do this one?
Oh, okay. Switching books here so she can.
This, the writing is a little
This-
small, sorry. Acknowledgement. My thankful acknowledgement is due to Sriman Brahmananda Brahmachari, Mr. Bruce Sharp, Sriman Gargamuni Brahmachari, Mr. Gregory Sharp, and Sriman Satyabrata Brahmacharya, Mr. Stanley Moskowitz, for their financial help for this publication. And I beg to thank Sriman Roy Ram Brahmachari, Mr. Raymond Marais, Sriman Satsvarup Brahmachari, Mr. Stephen Gorino, and Sriman Madhusudan Brahmachari, Mr. Michael Boomert, for editing and typing the manuscript, and Sriman Gaur Sundar Das Adhikari, Mr. Gary McElroy, and his good wife, Srimati Govinda Dasi, Mrs. Bonnie McElroy, who are always engaged to see to my personal comforts, and I am so much obliged to them for their drawing all the nice pictures contained in this great publication. All glories to the devotees engaged in the matter of Krishna consciousness. I am sure that Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will bestow his causeless mercy upon everyone who is engaged in pushing the cause of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, in the 1975 edition, the line drawings were not in there, and so therefore the acknowledgements was also taken out, so that it has returned to the new edition, which is really nice.
I think it's so nice that Srila Prabhupada is thanking these devotees and for, in these books for
Yeah.
and for the next 10,000 years.
These are the law books. It shows his appreciation. He appreciated every little thing the devotees did for him, for the cause of Krishna consciousness, as he says. Okay. Next we have the preface. You want to read?
Well, the preface is written by Srila Prabhupada, March 14th, 1968. Prabhupada writes, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple, New York, New York. In 1968, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't have any deities, they just had pictures, but I could be wrong. And this is Gaur Purnim that he's writing this. So it's wonderful. Gaur Purnim is coming up again. Of course, it's not by the sun calendar, it's by the moon calendar, so the date is different according to the sun. But the 28th of this month is Gaur Purnim.
Before we start, I just want to say I read this book in, I think it was 1973. That's the first time I read it, and I haven't read it since. And I think the only thing I remember from it is the first line of the preface.
Oh,
That
really?
there's no difference between the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the teachings of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita. So first sentences are pretty weighty.
Okay, I'll start the reading, although she already read that line.
Prabhu, is preface is there or first introduction is there? In the Veda base, first introduction is there.
This is the preface.
I think because the Veda base has, I think, the 1975 edition.
Okay.
Anyway, even if you don't, we're going to read it and we'll discuss it a little too. There's no difference between the teachings of Lord Chaitanya presented here and the teachings of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya are practical demonstrations of Lord Krishna's teachings. Lord Krishna's ultimate instruction in the Bhagavad-Gita is that everyone should surrender unto him, Lord Krishna. Krishna promises to take immediate charge of such a surrendered soul. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is already in charge of the maintenance of this creation by virtue of his planetary expansions, Kushura Dakshai Vishnu. But this maintenance is not direct. However, when the Lord says that he takes charge of his pure devotee, he actually takes direct charge. A pure devotee is a soul who is forever surrendered to the Lord, just as a child is surrendered to his parents or an animal to its master. In the surrendering process, one should, 1, accept things favorable for discharging devotional service. This may be on the test. 2, reject things unfavorable. 3, firmly believe that the Lord will always protect his devotee. 4, feel exclusively dependent on the mercy of the Lord. 5, have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord. And 6, always feel meek and humble. So this here says in the surrendering process, one should do this. So these are the signs of surrender. This is letting you know if you're surrendering or not. Get some.
Well, also, sometimes people ask, what does it mean to surrender, or how do I surrender? And so we can look at these 6, like you said, the surrendering process, it's like in a nutshell. We can meditate on these and see, am I doing this, or how can I do this? And this will facilitate our surrendering. Because ours is a whole process of surrender. Our goal is to surrender to Krishna. And it's right here on how.
Yeah, accept what's favorable for devotional service, reject what's unfavorable, believe that the Lord will always protect you. Feel exclusively dependent on the Lord. So first you're getting his protection, and you're also depending on his mercy. Have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord, and always be meek and humble.
And meek means to be gentle, submissive, and quiet. I looked it up in the dictionary.
Really?
It says quiet, gentle, and submissive.
So that's why we have everyone on mute.
And then humble. We all read in Bhagavad-Gita in chapter 13, verse 8 through 12. The first, when we're describing what knowledge is, the first one is humble. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions how to be humble means not seeking the gratification of being honored by others, something like that. That's what it means to be humble.
Yeah, also in that verse you just quoted, the first thing is humility. And the second thing is pridelessness. These are the qualities of knowledge. Pridelessness is practically the same thing as humility. Just saying it in another way. So those two qualities are really important. And here it's one of the things in surrendering is being meek and humble. Any questions? We have no idea how we're going to be teaching this.
Yeah.
First of all, she was teaching it.
And now he's.
But I didn't take over.
Maybe tomorrow you will be.
I'm only trying to help and maybe take over.
What exactly does not having any interest other than the Lord mean?
Oh, you're interested in sports, you're interested in movies, you're interested in business, and you don't have any interest unless it's connected with the Lord. You have no interest in it.
It means to dovetail everything. Krishna eyes, Krishna eyes.
Even your family, if they're not Krishna conscious, right? Or try to make them Krishna conscious. That's it.
And we have to try to understand what is Krishna's interest.
So if you're watching a movie, just kind of, your own sense gratification, that's having interest other than the interest of the Lord.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're watching, of course, a Krishna conscious movie.
It depends how good you are at rationalizing.
I meant the other one, other kind.
Well, I kind of thought that. Yeah, so sometimes we're not fully surrendered to souls, so we still have some other interests. We can see how I'm not fully surrendered. I have interest in some other things that are not.
It's a movie that has a good moral. And
also, Krishna wants us to be balanced. In the Bhagavad-Gita, he talks about a yogi doesn't eat too much, or doesn't eat too little, doesn't sleep too much, doesn't sleep too much. He's
said that was sleep too much twice.
Oh, did I say that? Eat or sleep.
She needs to sleep more.
Yeah, my alarm clock went berserk. But the recreation, we should also, you need some recreation just to have a peaceful mind. It talks about it in Bhagavad-Gita. There's something about,
yeah, but just to be healthy too. Yeah,
be healthy, keep the body fit.
So when Russ used to be here, we used to play some volleyball with the devotees.
Because if your mind and body are disturbed, you're not going to be able to focus on your service and your chanting. So we have to try to be balanced in our spiritual life.
I mean, having interest in no other interest other than the Lord is also having interest in the devotees or helping people become devotees. That's the interest of the Lord. So trying to help tell someone else about Krishna consciousness is also the interest of the Lord. You're thinking of him. We have to get more people to surrender to him.
He wants everyone to come back to him. So we have
I guess out of the 6, the only thing I have is depending fully on, there's nobody else to depend. That might be the only thing I'm really doing. The other stuff, I don't know.
You broke up a little. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you broke up. We heard you have something.
You have one.
No,
Down.
I said out of the 6, the only thing I really have is to depend fully on the Lord, because there's nobody else to depend on. But the other things is just in little bits and pieces, like fully surrendered to like doing everything that's favorable, avoiding everything that's unfavorable.
But even surrendering, I mean, depending fully on the Lord, that means not depending on yourself.
Right, I was just going to say that. That means not even depending on yourself.
It's like those two hands are dropping.
Yeah, well, I don't depend on myself because I'm not competent enough to depend on myself.
Well, you got the humility.
A lot of things, a lot of times we still think we are in charge, though. It's easier said than done.
But these are like 6 signs of surrender, you can say.
It's
And
a
they're
process.
really important. And years ago, everyone knew this. So I think we should really know it because it is important. Okay, you read?
And it's a process. It's something we work towards. I think there's a little difference in that one than this one. Therefore, Lord Krishna. Should I read from there?
Oh, why not? You can see it.
Let's see, it's different. Lord Krishna demands that one surrender unto him by following these 6 guidelines. But the unintelligent so-called scholars of the world misunderstand these demands and urge the general mass of people to reject them. At the conclusion of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, everybody know that verse? Lord Krishna directly orders, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me alone, and offer obeisances unto me alone. By so doing, the Lord says, one is sure to go to him in his transcendental abode. But the scholarly demons misguide the masses of people by directing them to surrender not to the personality of Godhead, but rather to the impersonal, unmanifested, eternal, unborn truth. The impersonalist, Mayavadi philosophers do not accept that the ultimate aspect of the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one desires to understand the sun as it is, one must first face the sunshine, and then and then the sun globe. And then, if one is able to enter into that globe, one may come face to face with the predominating deity of the sun. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, the Mayavadi philosophers cannot go beyond the Brahman effulgence, which may be compared to the sunshine. The Upanishads confirm that one has to penetrate the dazzling effulgence of Brahman before one can see the real face of the personality of Godhead. Now, does that sound familiar to everyone?
Yeah, Hiranmayena Pat.
Very good.
We just had the Sri Ishopanishad, but Prabhupada says that repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error. So it's good for us to, even if it seems repetitive, it's good for us to hear it so we really get it as it is. But it's all, you'll find it's all connected, you know, when you read all these books, the same message we find in the Upanishads, we find in the Gita, we find in the Bhagavatam, we'll find in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the same message. And he gives here the same example of the sunshine, the sun globe, and then the sun, deity of the sun, Vivaswan.
I couldn't pay attention at that. I was trying to close that thing.
But he gives that same example here.
Right.
You have anything to say about this, Prabhu?
No, it's fine.
Okay. And the verse in the 9th chapter is so significant that Krishna repeats it again to Arjuna in a similar way in the 18th chapter, 65. He says, after telling Arjuna that he's his dear friend, he tells him, always think of me and become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Manmana Bhavamad Bhakti. That's in those 2 verses. Very significant. Always think of me, become my devotee. It's like the process of surrender. You know, accept things favorable.
Right.
You want to read the next? Any questions on that thus far? On that paragraph?
Okay, read the next paragraph. Lord Chaitanya therefore taught direct worship of Lord Krishna, who appeared as the foster child of the king of Braj. Lord Chaitanya also taught that the place known as Vrindavan is as good as Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna, being the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, there is no difference between him and his name, qualities, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia. Lord Chaitanya also taught that the mode of worshiping the Lord in the highest perfectional stage is the method practiced by the damsels of Braja. These damsels, gopis or cowherd girls, simply love Krishna without any motive for material or spiritual gain. Lord Chaitanya also taught that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless narration of transcendental knowledge, and that the highest goal in human life is to develop unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Lord Chaitanya, as it said earlier, he's, Krishna says, surrender unto me. Lord Chaitanya came, who is Krishna himself, actually Radha and Krishna combined, and teaching us how to surrender to Krishna. So he came in the guise of a devotee, not as the Lord, although devotees also recognized him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not everyone, but his close, intimate devotees have. But in either case, he came to teach us how to surrender to the Lord. And he also said there are certain things which are not different from the Lord. Does anybody remember any of those things that I just read?
Krishna's name and form and qualities.
Yes. That says name,
Anything
qualities,
else?
form.
Anybody else know anything else? Can add to that?
Is it Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha? Abhinnat Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatva Namanamino?
I have no
That's
idea.
the holy name.
There is no difference between the person of the name who has the form and the name Abhinnatva
Well,
Namana.
you already said the name, qualities, and form. What else? I read
Paraphernalia.
paraphernalia. Yes, who said that? Gita Mala. Right. Yes. There's two more things that are here. One,
Pastime.
what?
Yes. Pastime.
Pastime.
Yes. The other
Yes.
one we may have to tell you. The pastimes is one. Yes. And the entourage. And what is the entourage? Old dictionary.
That's his associates.
Associates.
Those who accompany him wherever he goes.
I heard like Rasraj.
You heard Rasaraj.
Oh.
Yes.
You said Rasraj. Okay.
His associates. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya taught Prema Pumarto Mahan, the ultimate goal, the highest goal, the highest achievement for human beings is love of God. That is our goal.
And the best example is that of the gopis. They loved Krishna. It's nice how they loved him without any motive for material or spiritual gain. They didn't care about anything. They just loved him and they wanted to please him. They didn't care about their own pleasure. It was just Krishna's pleasure. That's love.
And this is the uniqueness of Lord Chaitanya. He came to teach this love of the gopis, which no incarnation has ever taught before. And it's the highest, so everything is there. There's nothing lacking. Just like if you have the $100 bill, you automatically have your $10 bills, your $5 bills, your $20 bills. Everything is there. There's nothing lacking. So everything is there in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
And also, he says, he taught that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless narration of transcendental knowledge, and that the highest goal in human life is to develop unalloyed love for Krishna. Okay.
So we have alloyed love.
Yes.
You got to start somewhere.
Right.
Actually, when Prabhupada boat pulled into Boston Harbor, he saw there was a sign, a billboard, unalloyed steel. And he took that as a sign. It was a good positive sign, unalloyed, which is how, of course, not the steel part, but the unalloyed is how our love should be, without completely 100% pure, no contamination. So he actually saw that unalloyed steel, and he took that as a positive sign from Krishna.
Pure bhakti, not mixed with karma
Right.
or jnana. Pure bhakti.
Thank you.
Anytime. Any questions? Should we continue? Lord Chaitanya's teachings are identical to those given by Lord Kapila, the original propounder of Sankhya Yoga, the Sankhya system of philosophy. This authorized system of yoga teaches meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of meditating on something void or impersonal. When one can meditate on the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu, even without practicing involved sitting postures in a secluded place, such meditation is called perfect samadhi. That this kind of meditation is perfect samadhi is confirmed at the end of the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita. Everyone know that verse too?
Yoginam api sarvesham.
Yes. Good. Where Lord Krishna says that of all yogis, the greatest is the one who constantly thinks of the Lord within the core of his heart with love and devotion. On the basis of the Sankhya philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which maintains that the Supreme Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation, Lord Chaitanya taught that the most practical way for the mass of people to practice Sankhya Yoga meditation is simply to chant the holy name of the Lord. He taught that the holy name of the Lord is the sound incarnation of the Lord, and that since the Lord is the absolute whole, there is no difference between his holy name and his transcendental form. Thus, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can directly associate with the Supreme Lord by sound vibration. As one practices chanting this sound vibration, one passes through 3 stages of development. Anyone know those 3 stages?
Is it offensive chanting and then the stage where you're getting rid of offenses and then pure chanting?
Yes. We'll take that. The offensive stage, the clearing stage, and the transcendental stage. In the offensive stage of chanting, one may desire all kinds of material happiness, but in the 2nd stage, one becomes clear of all material contamination. When one is situated on the transcendental stage, one attains the most coveted position, the stage of loving God. Lord Chaitanya taught that this is the highest stage of perfection for human beings. Prema Pumarto Mohan. I remember, I think I listened to a lecture, or did I read it? Prabhupada was talking about how Lord Nrsingadev touched Prahlad Maharaj, with his hand. And he said that we can experience that same touch of the Lord by chanting his holy names. The Lord is touching our tongue. He's dancing on our tongue. Dances on our tongue.
So if anyone has any desires for material happiness, then you should know you're still chanting offensively. So how many of us are beyond that?
And we've heard the root of all the offenses, or the one that the other offenses stem from, is inattention. So, and that's a practical one that we can try to work on, is to be more attentive.
Yeah, we shouldn't get discouraged if we still have material desires and we're still chanting offensively. We just keep trying, that's all. But by trying, by making the effort, and as Jiva said, how we have to try to be more attentive while chanting, then eventually we will get to the clearing stage.
And how to become free from offenses in chanting is to continue chanting.
Right.
Any questions, comments, reflections?
Okay. Yoga practice is essentially meant for controlling the senses. So people do all this yoga. The ultimate thing is to help you to control your senses. Then they feel really good and they go out and enjoy. Mind is the central controlling factor of all senses. And therefore one has to practice first controlling the mind by engaging the mind in the matter of Krishna consciousness. There was a devotee, Sudam, who was a Maharaj, passed away now, but he was Prabhupada's servant, and he read where Prabhupada said in the Bhagavad-Gita, I believe it is, the best way to control the mind is by gravity, by being grave, is the best way to control the mind. So he decided he's going to control his mind by being grave, and he's serving Prabhupada, he's very grave. And Prabhupada said, Sudam, why are you so morose? So there's a difference between being grave and being morose. Oh.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know. Prabhupada was pretty funny.
If I tried to be grave, I would be morose, for sure. And a lot of times I am. I'm not grave, but
morose, not even being grave.
But grave means to not reveal your mind to everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean to be, morose.
No, it's not morose.
I think he had a little different understanding.
But here, this is the whole reason for yoga, is to control the mind. So the gross activities of the mind are expressed through the external senses, either for acquiring knowledge or functioning under the will. And the subtle activities of the mind are thinking, feeling, and willing, according to the different attitudes of consciousness. Prabhupada also says, in the thinking state, we can stop. In other words, I'm thinking of enjoying something. In that stage, we can stop. Then it's feeling. The thinking goes on to the feeling. And once it's in the feeling, then it's very, very difficult, almost impossible to stop it. It's going to go. So once as there's a saying Jiva quotes a lot, maybe not so recently, but I used to quote, is nip it in the bud. As soon as it stops, as soon as it comes, just immediately nip it. Just stop it there. So that's in the thinking stage. So there's a thinking, feeling, and willing. That's the functions of the mind. So in the thinking stage, it's easy to stop. After that, very, very difficult. According to the different, what?
What's that verse? Even one of the, what is that verse?
Even a man who's knowledge is difficult to, yeah.
Yeah. Just
Arjuna.
Even one of the
the senses focuses on.
You used to know that verse.
Can drive a man. You
can carry away a man's intelligence.
Yes. Even one of the senses the mind focuses on can take away a man's intelligence.
Used to know.
It's some verse. It's there somewhere. So, according to the different attitudes of consciousness. Now let's go back and read that sentence again. The gross activities of the mind are expressed through the external senses, either for acquiring knowledge or functioning under the will. And the subtle activities of the mind are thinking, feeling, and willing. According to the different attitudes of consciousness, this consciousness is either polluted or clear. If the mind is fixed up in Krishna, his name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia, then the whole of the activities, subtle and gross, is changed favorably. The Bhagavad-Gita's process of purifying consciousness is to fix the mind on Krishna, to talk of his transcendental activities, to cleanse the temple of the Lord, to walk to the temple of the Lord, to see the beautiful transcendental form of the Lord nicely decorated, to hear his transcendental glories, to taste foodstuffs offered to the Lord, to smell the flowers and tulsi leaves offered to the Lord, to associate with the Lord's devotees, to engage oneself in the activities for the interests of the Lord, and to become angry also at those who are envious of the devotees. No one can stop the activities of the mind or the senses, but one can purify such activities by changing the account. So this is dovetailing. Prabhupada uses this word so much. We can't stop acting, but we can change what we're acting for. We can use our senses for pleasing Krishna. We can walk to the temple, we can see the deity, we can taste prasadam, we can associate with devotees. So this change of account is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, or chapter 2, I guess, 39. A human being is sometimes restricted in the matter of sense gratification under certain circumstances of disease, etc. So sometimes you're forced to restrict your senses, like you get so sick you can't eat anymore. But that prescription or regulative principle is for the less intelligent class of men. Such less intelligent men, without knowing the actual process of controlling the mind and senses, either want to stop them by force or to give them up, or to be carried away by the waves of sense gratification. So people want to control their senses. They think, well, I'm not going to do anything. That's not going to last. You can't do nothing. You have to do something. So the way to control your senses is by engaging them in Krishna's service. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, because the mind needs some engagement. I'd like to think about that picture of
I read from a different book. I mean, it's a different teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and it really is different than that. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's saying the same thing, but it's not written the same. Right?
But I
I
like
put that verse in the chat, Jiva, you were looking for.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I like that picture in the Bhagavad Gita where it has the chariot with the senses as the horses, and the mind is the reins, the intelligence is the driver, and then the soul is the passenger, and the body is the chariot. You know, but we have to, because we have to strengthen our intelligence to control the mind, which controls the senses, you know, and we strengthen our intelligence by follow the instructions given by the spiritual master and the scriptures, you know, that strengthens our intelligence, which will therefore control the mind, because it all focuses on controlling the mind. And it also says that by experiencing a higher taste, we can give up the lower taste. You know, we need the mind to experience something higher, to relish Krishna consciousness.
It also says in the conditioned state, our mind is our worst enemy, which means it's giving us all bad advice on how to enjoy sense gratification and not to just sit and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But once then as we get purified, then our mind eventually, when we're pure, becomes our best friend. Right now, our mind is telling us how to enjoy sense gratification. That's it. And that's because we wanted that for so many lives. Now we're trying to change that to want Krishna. But once we actually become purified, then our mind is our best friend. And our mind will just remind us of Krishna no matter what we look at. Everything will remind us of Krishna.
We've been so conditioned to think of ourselves first, you know, how I can enjoy something, what I can get out of something. But we're trying to retrain our mind to think of Krishna first. When you see something nice, you think, oh, I can offer this for Krishna. I can offer this nice flower. I can get these nice ingredients and cook something for Krishna. Or I can get these nice necklace or beads and make jewelry for Krishna. Or, you know, So that's also training the mind not to think of our sense gratification first. Think of Krishna first. Prabhupada had a motto, everything for Krishna. I read that recently. He said, everything for Krishna, nothing for my sense gratification, something like that.
Yeah, nothing for me. Everything for Krishna, nothing for me.
It was nothing for me? Okay.
Nothing for me, yeah.
But I remember.
I also, Jamuna said it. He actually said that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything for Krishna, nothing for me.
That's because he loved.
Then someone said, we actually quoted that in one of our morning programs, and somebody, maybe Yoga Dharma, said that. She said, we think everything for me.
Right.
Maybe a little something for Krishna.
Right. Not nothing for Krishna, but
actually she
that's
said everything. Yeah. She said everything for me, nothing for Krishna. But I said, we think everything for me, just a little something for Krishna.
Right.
He doesn't need anything.
He doesn't need anything. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe I'll take that little something back. Well, we just finished the now 8 formulas of practicing yoga.
We should try to finish the
I don't think you could finish it.
We're almost done.
Yeah, so we could try the 8 formulas. That's in this book.
Oh, right there, 8 principles.
Yeah.
The 8 principles of Sankhya Yoga, observing the regulative principles, following the rules, practicing the various sitting postures, performing the breathing exercises, withdrawing one's senses from the sense objects, etc., are meant for those who are too much engrossed in the bodily conception of life. The intelligent man situated in Krishna consciousness does not try to forcibly stop his senses from acting. Rather, he engages his senses in the service of Krishna. No one can stop a child from playing by leaving him inactive. Rather, one can stop the child from engaging in nonsense by engaging him in superior activities. Similarly, the forceful restraint of sense activities by the 8 principles of yoga is recommended for inferior men. Superior men, being engaged in the superior activities of Krishna consciousness, naturally retire from the inferior activities of material existence.
Read the whole thing.
Keep going.
If you're going to finish it, you'll have to.
Or we can do it next week too, whatever.
So if you want to comment, then comment.
No, we already. In this way, Lord Chaitanya teaches the science of Krishna consciousness. That science is absolute. Dry mental speculators try to restrain themselves from material attachment, but it is generally found that the mind is too strong to be controlled and that it drags them down to sensual activities. A person in Krishna consciousness does not run this risk. One therefore has to engage one's mind and senses in Krishna conscious activities. And Lord Chaitanya teaches one how to do this in practice. Want to read? Before accepting sannyas, the renounced order, Lord Chaitanya was known as Vishvambar. The word Vishvambar refers to one who maintains the entire universe and who leads all living entities. This very same maintainer and leader appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya to give humanity these sublime teachings. Lord Chaitanya is the ideal teacher of life's prime necessities. He is the most munificent bestower of love of Krishna. He is the complete reservoir of all mercies and good fortune. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad-Gita, the Mahabharata, and the Upanishads, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, and he is worshipable by everyone in this age of disagreement. Everyone can join in his Sankirtan movement. No previous qualification is necessary. Just by following his teachings, anyone can become a perfect human being. Anyone who is fortunate enough to be attracted by Lord Chaitanya is sure to be successful in his life's mission. In other words, those who are interested in attaining spiritual existence can easily be released from the clutches of Maya by Lord Chaitanya's grace, now presented in a book form as Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which is non-different from the Lord. The conditioned soul, engrossed in the material body, increases the pages of history by all kinds of material activities. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya can help the members of human society stop such unnecessary and temporary activities and be elevated to the topmost platform of spiritual activities, which begin after liberation from material bondage. Such liberated activities in Krishna consciousness constitute the goal of human perfection. The false prestige one acquires by attempting to dominate material nature is illusory. Illuminating knowledge can be acquired from teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and by such knowledge one can advance in spiritual existence. Everyone has to suffer or enjoy the fruits of his activity. No one can check the laws of material nature that govern such things. As long as one is engaged in fruitive activity, one is sure to be baffled in the attempt to attain the ultimate goal of life. I sincerely hope that by understanding teachings of Lord Chaitanya, human society will experience a new light of spiritual life, which will open the field of activity for the pure soul. Om Tat Sat, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. 14th of March, 1968, the birthday of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple, New York, New York.
Prabhupada.
Jai.
So this is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya is non-different from the Lord. It's absolute. He's non-different than his Namaguna, Rupa Leela, his paraphernalia, his entourage. Did I leave anything out? Because he said it twice. That's a Leela.
Oh, he said Leela.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's what he filed at the McGill University is here, I think. Is the prologue? What was
the prologue
written by,
is next. That's what we'll read next time.
by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, huh?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes. The Life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Precepts.
Let's read at the next mission, the Lord Chaitanya's mission. Does it have the Shikshastakam?
That's different.
I'm asking, does it have it?
Yeah, after this.
Yeah. We're just checking the difference.
The difference in the two books.
Well, that's not that far. It's just the next. Oh, mission. Maybe not in there. Because I'm just seeing that Srila Prabhupada has in the older book, the Shikshastakam that Lord Chaitanya had.
Yeah, too.
It's only English?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's only English in both books.
There's so many things. Mission, introduction.
Yeah.
What?
Mission, introduction, preface,
Hmm.
prologue. Yeah.
Preface, prologue. Before even the book starts.
Yeah.
For about 6 weeks, we'll start the book.
Oh.
The nice drawings they put back in the new ones. Did everyone get these? Last year for Gorpranim, we gave everybody one of these.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what you'll get this year.
But after, we're trying to prepare you for not getting anything and being satisfied.
When I joined in Seattle, the altar in Seattle had a color picture of this Lord Chaitanya in ecstasy in the temple of Jagannath. They had that picture on the altar.
Okay, so any other last questions or comments?
I think I have both of them, Mataji. I think I have the older version and the newer version.
Raj, do you have a quiz for us?
No quiz today.
Okay, so everybody's lucky today.
Saturday, I usually don't have quiz.
No, that's fine. I was just joking.
We need a break, Ras Prabhu, on Saturdays.
Yes,
Don't
yes,
we don't want to
definitely.
think too hard.
That's fun.
Saturday is open. It's free.
Have to give a quiz.
Yeah, the one I really like the question you asked once is how much do I charge per hour for counseling?
6 symptoms of surrender.
Yeah, let's see if you know that. That's important.
What are the 6 symptoms of surrender? Somebody can say one, and someone else can say.
Doing everything that's favorable for the Lord.
And
Accepting
avoiding
everything.
anything that's unfavorable.
Yeah, that's 2.
Should I go
Depending
ahead or
on the
should I
Lord.
wait for somebody else?
No, somebody else.
Completely depending on the Lord. Lord's mercy.
Yes, there you go.
She said mercy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Anybody else?
Being confident that Krishna will always protect us.
Yes. Yeah. Or
Remember we talked about the meaning of the words of the one of them?
yeah, I remember that one, but I'm trying to think of the other one myself.
To be humble.
And there's another one, another word with that.
Meek.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
meek.
I remember
Meek and
I
humble.
remember it now.
You do?
Yeah, I remember them all now. Yeah, I know what it is. Don't
Okay.
don't cheat. So what else?
How many is
One more. There's
One
only
more?
one more.
Gentle.
What?
Gentle.
Gentle. No, that was
No.
meek.
That's in the meek and
He already
humble.
said that.
Meek and humble.
Being aggressive towards people who are envious of Lord Krishna's devotees.
Punch him in the face. No,
No, that's not one of the symptoms of surrender.
That's not. I mean, that may be a little
I mean,
anger.
it could be.
It could be
Except that-
surrender.
That could be part
Okay,
of it.
we'll give it. Can you give a hint without giving it away?
Well, we talked about it like in share when we what are we doing when we're sharing Krishna consciousness with others? You said that's also what the Lord is.
I thought I knew what it was. Oh, it got me.
Oh, maybe I'm confused.
Maybe you're saying it.
Yeah,
wrong.
maybe. You want to say it then? The one you're
Let
thinking
me
of?
see.
Nobody has it. So go ahead.
Anukullena Krishnano. It's like that.
Not having any interest other than the Lord.
Yes.
Right.
No separate interests. See, the Lord is
Wait.
interested in others coming back to Him, spreading Krishna
Yeah,
consciousness.
that doesn't get it for me.
Yeah, okay.
That was a hint I couldn't even
Well,
understand.
that's all I could come up with.
I knew it until you said your hint.
Okay.
To
But
have
she
no
got it.
separate
That was
interest.
Jairade, right?
Did you remember it, Jairade, or did you look it up?
No, I remembered it.
Very good.
I remembered it from when we was on the test before second initiation.
Oh, that was one of the questions, huh?
Yep.
That was on the test that we did, right? The special test.
The test you made up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That wasn't easy, I don't think, was
No,
it?
it wasn't. It wasn't easy. But it was easy to do in Bhakti
The whole Bhakti Shastri, yeah.
Yes, that it was.
Okay, what else?
Okay.
Is
I
there
think
any
that's it.
difference? What's the difference between the
It's already
teachings?
over.
Oh,
Get asked. You get asked.
what's the difference between the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna?
I know.
Both are same.
There is nothing. There is none.
Right.
Trick
no
question.
difference.
But then it goes on to say that Lord Chaitanya is this practical demonstration.
I personally myself have heard
Can't hear you. Talk louder.
devotees talk about how they got inspired to Prabhu's way.
I can't
I'm
hear.
listening to another class, Prabhu. I'm sorry. I'm doing simultaneously. I didn't want to sign off, but I have to go to another class.
Oh,
I'm
you can
jumping
go.
around.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's the end anyway.
Yeah.
Unless anybody has anything else.
What is expected?
Okay, thank you
Okay.
all for
Hare
coming.
Krishna.
Antakoti Vaishnava ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Pyari Prabhu and Jiva
Mataji ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.